Ja, spreche nicht, ist okay.
Ja.
Ist besser für Aufnahmen, besser für andere. Und für dich natürlich.
Ja, für mich auch fast.
Okay.
Weil ich lese von Bhagavad ein bisschen ein paar Versen, dann Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava
Kunja Bihari
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Jayo
Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari
Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai Shri Shri Vijay Gauranga Dal Nitai Ki Jai Okay, lass uns jetzt das machen. Jetzt. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Shri Vijay Gauranga Dal Nitai Ki Jai. Jetzt zuerst wir lesen von First we are reading from Transcendental Diary. Du sprichst Englisch, oder? So. From Transcendental Diary, from His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Reading. Prabhupada is probably the first person to show them a true platform of equal dealing for all without disturbing the so-called balance. As they clapped, he continued, Yes, Mamchayo Vyabhicharena Bhakti Yogina Sevate Sagunan Samatitya Brahma Bhuvya Kalpate. So, this Krishna consciousness movement is that it is giving immediate lift to everyone to come to the transcendental platform, Brahma Bhuvya Kalpate. But general state is Varnashram Dharma. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was discussing with Ramananda Rai, first of all he said, what is the aim of life? So Ramananda replied, first of all, to begin this Varnashram Dharma. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, yes, this is all right, but this is external. If you know something better, please tell me. So in this way, step by step, everything was described by Ramananda Rai, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not reject it. He said, it is all right, but if you know something better, then at last, when Ramananda said, quoting one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Sthane Stita Shruti Gatam Tanuvan Manobhi, that it doesn't matter what you are, you remain in your post. Sthane Stita Shruti Gatam. Through the oral reception, if you hear about Krishna, then you become perfect. That is the statement. So this is required at the present moment, that you remain wherever you are, either Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Englishman, Indian, it doesn't matter. You try to understand Krishna, that's all. If you do that, then everything will be perfect. That can be very easily done by chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given this mantra. It is from Shastra, Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nama Eva Kevalam. Kalau Nasti Eva Nasti Eva. In this age in Kali Yuga, it is very difficult to bring back the fallen population again to the standard of the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. It is practically lost now. The best thing is that all of them combined together, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or even less than Shudra, Kirata, Hunandra, Pulinda, Pulkasha. Take this process of chanting and hearing of the Lord's name, everything will be all right. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So this is actually very much connected to the verse today. This is very much connected to the verse today because Srila Prabhupada explains here, this is a very important point, very, very important point that Srila Prabhupada mentioned is the lift, the word lift. Prabhupada says here, where is it? The Krishna consciousness movement is that it is given immediate a lift to everyone to come to the transcendental platform. So this is until Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appearance, this was unheard of because in the previous times everybody followed Varnashram Dharma, and when you follow Varnashram Dharma, you live according to the rules and regulations, and gradually you purify yourself and you come to the higher platform. The higher platform is, Vanaprastha, Sannyas, and then when you take Sannyas, then the 4 stages of Sannyas, and the 4th stage is Paramahamsa. So gradually there's the steps showed how to actually achieve the transcendental platform. But by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, you don't need to do any of these things. You can just immediately lift. It's like an elevator. Lift you to the transcendental platform. So such is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Amazing. And what is this mercy? There's only, Prabhupada explained at the end, just by chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Everybody can, he said, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra can all be liberated. He said, no, everybody, even Kirata, Hunandra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Avira, Shamba, Yavana, Kasadaya. All these races, this is the verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yanyecha papa tadapashya ashra tasmai Shri Prabhavishnave namaha. That the one who takes shelter of the lotus feet of Vishnu, even Kasares, the Kirata, Hunandra, Huna, Pulindas, Pulkashas, Yavanas, Kasa, these are the lower class in the society. And Prabhupada in the purport of this verse explains who these people are. You know, who is the Kirata, like Yavanas are the Turks, Prabhupada says, the Turks. And Greeks, you know. So these are this race there, you know, we have such a great faith in the Greek civilization. You know, the big philosophers, Plato, Aristotle, you know, but these are on the level less than Shudras, you know, these are Quinata. So, but even these races can be liberated if they take shelter of Krishna by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Mahavadanyavata, the most merciful, the most magnanimous, the most wonderful incarnation of all. Not only that he gives liberation to the lower than the Shudras, but Lord Chaitanya actually rewards the love of Krishna. I mean, yesterday I discussed with one devotee about something like perfect body, Siddha Deha. You know, how does one achieve the Siddha Deha? You know, this is described in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. When Narada Muni executed this devotional service. When he was a child, his mother was bitten by a snake, and he started traveling in the forest. And then he achieved the perfection. And he said after that body was finished, he was awarded a spiritual body. Because only with this spiritual body you can serve a spiritual form of Krishna. So this is like awarding this body. So it's not like you can muscle it, you go to university and you study and you get PhD and now I'm PhD, I am a spiritual body. It doesn't work that way. You have to actually be awarded. You have to be given by somebody. So we were discussing this, and I was thinking, wow, here I am, the guy from the most, useless country, the most useless family, compared to the Vedic standards, the most useless country, the most useless family, the most useless anything, discussing such a high topic as awarding the spiritual body. But this is possible only by the mercy of the spiritual master and by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So therefore, Bhaja Gauranga, Kaha Gauranga, Laha Gauranga, I forgot the last line, but this is the verse explaining, worship Krishna, worship Lord Chaitanya, speak about Lord Chaitanya, and always, be attached to Lord Chaitanya. We should always never forget this. This is the mercy. We are here only sitting because of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Nothing else. And of course, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, he sent different acharyas like Bhaktisiddhanta, Prabhupada, and so on. But the source of all mercy is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna. Now we are reading from this, again, book rendered by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, which we would never be able to understand in the Western world. I actually read one of the translations of Srimad Bhagavatam, not by Prabhupada, but somebody else, I don't know exactly. And I was reading this. It's written like a roman, like one. There's no verses, and you just read this, and you think like, okay, it's a nice book, nice stories. We will never be able to understand anything with Srimad Bhagavatam without the mercy of Prabhupada. Anything. So, we're reading from the Canto 6, chapter 1, verse 18. Sadrichino hyayam loke pantakshemo kuto bhavaha sushila sadavo yatra narayana parayana. Sorry. This amazing device called computer. We have all the scriptures and more. Hare Krishna, sorry. I don't see it. If you could take it, thank you. So, Sadrichina, just appropriate. He, certainly. I am this. Loke, in the world. Pantaha, path. Some more technical details here. Path. Kshemaha, auspicious. Akutabhaya, without fear. Sushilaha, well behaved. Sadhava, saintly persons. Yatra, wherein. Narayana Parayana, those who have taken the path of Narayana. Devotional service as their life and soul. Prabhupada many times uses this word, Narayana Parayana. This is the description of a devotee. Narayana Parayana. Parayana means one, I was looking in the Sanskrit dictionary, Parayana means one who is completely dedicated to, or who is, devoted to. So devotees are Narayana Parayana. So, translation. The path followed by pure devotees who are well behaved are fully endowed with the best qualifications. They have the best qualifications. This path is certainly the most auspicious path in the material world. It is free from fear and it is authorized by the Shastras. So this is like so many important points here in this verse. So let's see what Srila Prabhupada says. One should not think that the person who takes to bhakti is one who cannot perform the ritualistic ceremonies recommended in the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas. This is sentence is a little bit differently formed.
Don't read so fast.
Yes. One should not think, meaning that devotees, the people should not think that devotees cannot do any ritualistic ceremonies in the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas. Or the people should not think that devotee is not sufficiently educated to speculate on spiritual subjects, meaning devotees are not stupid. Mayavadi generally allege, means they think, that the bhakti path is for women and illiterates. This is for women and children, now we are the real here, philosophy, Mayavada Bhashya, Shankara Bhashya. This is a groundless accusation, means this is no. Bhakti path is followed by the most learned scholars such as Goswamis, Lord Chaitanya and Ramanuja Acharya. These are the actual followers of the bhakti path. Regardless of whether or not one is educated or aristocratic, one must follow in their footsteps. Mahajano yena gata sapantaha. One must follow the path of the Mahajanas. The Mahajanas are those who have taken to the path of devotional service. Sushila Sadhava Yatra Narayana Parayana. For these great personalities are the perfect persons. These people are perfect. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 5.18.12, Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavati Kinchana Sarvais Gunais Tamat Tatra Samasate Suraha. One who has unflinching devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in him all the good qualities of the demigods are existing. The less intelligent, however, misunderstand the bhakti path and therefore allege that this is for those who cannot execute the ritualistic ceremonies or speculate. Meaning those who cannot do the yagyas or brahmanas, or those who are not intelligent, they don't know the Shastras. As confirmed here by the word sadrichina, bhakti is the path that is appropriate, not the paths of karma kanda and jnana kanda. So there's a verse, karma kanda, jnana kanda, kevala vishera bandha. Meaning that this is the path of karma kanda and jnana kanda are only binding one to the material world. There's nothing else but binding. And the path of karma kanda is doing the ritualistic ceremonies to go to the heavenly planets or go to the higher planets. And jnana kanda is usually reserved for those who want to merge into the impersonal Brahmajyoti. So these two paths are not interesting for us. Because they keep one in the material world. Mayavadis may be sushila, sadhava, well-behaved, saintly persons, but there is nevertheless some doubt whether they actually making progress. For they have not accepted the path of bhakti. On the other hand, those who follow the path of the acharyas are sushila and sadhava, but furthermore their path is akuta bhaya, which means free from fear. One should follow fearlessly the 12 Mahajanas and their line of disciplic succession and thus be liberated from the clutches of Maya. So this is some very deep points here, what Prabhupada and our philosophy propagate. That Mayavadi, path of Mayavada, the meaning Mayavada path is that Maya is, everything is made of illusion. This material world is just an illusion. This is called Maya Vada. Maya Vada. The Vada means truth or the philosophy. So it's a philosophy of everything is illusory. And the example, the famous example in the snake, in the rope. At night, you walk around in the forest and you see a rope hanging and you think it's a snake. But the sun comes and you say, oh, it's actually just a rope. Once we were walking in the forest in Golokadam, and it was also dark, a little bit dark, and we saw a man. And he says, oh, there's a man, oh, there's a man. But then we came closer, it was not a man, it was a tree, some kind of broken tree. So we said, you see, this is illusion, So the Mayavadis, this is what the example they give. That material world is illusion, and once you realize that this is illusion, you actually become liberated. Of course, and then you merge with everything, totality of Brahman, of existence. Of course, the question there is unanswered. How can something which is perfect, Brahman, become illusion? To become illusion, you have to be put in illusion by some other side. But who is putting Brahman to illusion? Or Brahman put himself to illusion? This is illogical. But somehow the philosophy is very much attractive. There's so many people accepting this. India now less, because ISKCON is growing in India. But in the West, this philosophy is widely accepted in all the yoga societies. That Brahma, Satya, Jagat, Mithya, merge with everybody's one. It's like a universal love. We all love each other. It's all love. This is this oneness. But actually, the path of bhakti delineates. No, this is not oneness. There's a jiva, there's a prakriti, there's Krishna, and Svarupa Shakti. There's different shaktis. It says that Vishnu has 18 different shaktis operating. This is described by Madhvacharya, all these different shaktis. So these shaktis are operating and create all these certain things. And for us, most important shakti is Maya Shakti. That we understand. Maya Shakti is keeping us down to this material world. Avaranatmika Shakti, Prakshepatmika Shakti. Avaranatmika Shakti is bewildering us, like you put in blanket in you, and you suddenly, you don't know where I am right now. And then there's Avaranatmika Shakti, one of the other two, swirls you, like put you in a laundry machine of the samsara, and then you come out of you, and you're inside the laundry machine, and you have no idea what's going on. So this is our position in the material world. We're in the laundry machine. Imagine yourself in the laundry machine, being tumbled, covered with the blanket. You think like, wow, is it, am I back, am I forth? So this is what's going on. The material world is like this, that the living entity is thrown and covered. So therefore it's very important to understand this. The first step of self-realization to understand that something is wrong. I'm doing something wrong in this material world. So this is very important to understand. I'm not doing great. Especially in America when you meet people, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing great, man. Great. Everybody's doing great. But they're not. They're not. We also think we are doing so great. We are so proud of little things in the material world. We accomplish. We are very proud. We earn some, 1,000 extra, 1,000 euros extra. We're very proud. Yes, I did this, or whatever. The pride, so much pride. But so therefore, the path of bhakti is the actual proper path, and the reason is it is free from fear. Number one, and number two, it is authorized by the Shastras. So this is very, very important things. Authorized by the Shastras. We cannot take the path which is not authorized by the Shastras. So therefore, whatever we do, whatever philosophy we speak, whatever our ideas, we have to always back it up by the Shastra. We may say, oh, this devotee said this. Yeah, this is all nice. But there's to be backed up by the Shastra. Show me. Where is the Shastra explaining this? Or show myself. Therefore, we should read the Shastras. We should read Bhagavatam, we should read Chaitanya Charitamrita, we should read Bhagavad Gita to understand how do we actually live in this material world. And therefore nobody else will be able to convince us in the otherwise. And this is called Madhyama Adhikari. Madhyama Adhikari is a devotee who has a faith in the Shastra and he knows the Shastra. According to, it is divided, the Madhyama Adhikari means the devotee of the middle level of advancement, devotees on the lower level of advancement, the Kanishta Adhikari, or Prakrita Bhakta, Prabhupada says sometimes. Prakrita Bhakta means materialistic devotee. He sees devotional service through his own materialistic eyes. He says, oh, this, and whatever, you can hear so many times, somebody says something and you think, what is this? This is not according to Shastra. Yeah, but this is a nice person, So you see from your own who is nice, who is not nice. But the proper thing is to actually look from the eyes of the Shastra. What is the proper behavior, what is not proper behavior? And more so, the addition to the Shastra. Shastras, we know there are Vedas, different Itihasas, whatever. And but Vyasadeva, he saw the Kali Yuga is approaching, people will not be able to understand the Vedas. The people are not intelligent to understand the Vedas. So therefore he compiled Vedanta Sutra. The Vedanta Sutra is very small, short, points or sentences, and from this sentence you can expand, the meaning of it. And then even then he realized people will not be understanding the Vedanta Sutra either. It's Kali Yuga. So how about I compile Srimad Bhagavatam? Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence, as is described, essence, or Prabhupada says, cream of the Vedic literature. And when you cook, there's a cream on top. When you milk, when you milk the cow, we just went to some farms and devotees milk the cow, and there's so much cream, this much. When you go to the store and buy, there's zero, You make paneer and it comes out, 50 grams from 1 liter. But the real milk is a cream, and you scoop up this milk cream, and this is what Srimad Bhagavatam, from all the Vedas, Vedic literature, this is Srimad Bhagavatam. The cream of all Vedic literature. And Srimad Bhagavatam, as I said, is written in Sanskrit. First of all, who understands Sanskrit nowadays? Maybe somebody in India, maybe few. And then, who can actually interpret the Srimad Bhagavatam? And those even translate Srimad Bhagavatam in different languages like Bengali and Hindi. And even in English, I told you, I cannot read it. I tried and it's all right, but even then, they use very archaic words. Archaic means old words. I'm speaking too fast, Sushneva. So they're using such a words that you cannot even understand. Some old words from the 1875. So Srila Prabhupada was again empowered by our disciplic succession to give this translation in English, because English is actually considered a very simple language. I don't want to offend, English-speaking countries, but it's a simple, comparing to German, English is very simple. Or comparing to the Slavic languages, English is very simple. You, how are you? I gave you, it's very simple language. So in that sense, English is actually is an international language. It's even now a computer language. We had recently Bhakti Raghava Maharaj. Did he come here? No, Bhakti Raghava Maharaj. He gave several lectures on Varnashram Dharma and farming community, and he was giving this how a Gurukula, what should kids learn in a Gurukula? And they should learn 2 things, very compulsory, amongst the other, but 2 things, languages, Sanskrit and English. He said Sanskrit, they need to learn Sanskrit so they can actually read Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, and the English, they have to, you have to know English. If you want to be a preacher in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, you have to speak English. This is the language. It's an official ISKCON language, English. So Prabhupada translated into English, and he made it very simplified for us to understand. Once there was the story when at that time Harikesh Swami was urging Prabhupada. He said, Prabhupada, we are distributing these books so much, but you are not translating them fast enough. He wanted to say how we are doing so much, you should do faster also. He said, we are so eager to read your books. Because at that time Prabhupada was, canto after canto after canto. Prabhupada was translating. The devotees were very, very eager to read the next canto. And Prabhupada says, I cannot rush because every sentence I have to think, how can I present this to the Western world? Every sentence. So when you read this, you can see that, for example, you read the commentaries of the Goswamis on the Bhagavatam. And, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Sanatana Goswami. But Prabhupada's translation, he uses from them, but then he actually presents to the Western world because he is, at that time, he was living in the Western world. So he understands the Western people. Some, Goswamis, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he never went to America, or whatever, England, So their commentaries was very deep, but Prabhupada understood, okay, these people, these are actually, very simple people, and they don't know anything. Like for example, in India, preaching means, bhakti is the one, jnana is not the one, karma kanda, But in the West, people don't know what bhakti is, they don't know what jnana is, they don't know what Krishna is, not who, but what Krishna is. They say Krishna, they say, wow, who is Krishna? They say Krishna, they don't know. You see, I was asked several times, we have a picture of Prabhupada, they say, is he Hare Krishna? They don't, is he Hare Krishna? They don't know. They don't know anything. People don't know. They said, no, this is Prabhupada and Hare means Krishna. Oh, okay. They don't know. So therefore our preaching is very basic. Very, very basic. But has to be authorized by the Shastras. You have to know. And then, to come back again to the authorization, Srila Prabhupada, not just that he translated these books, but he also wrote many letters. And in these letters he even simplified practical application of this philosophy into our lives. How to run a center, how to be a temple president, how to be a brahmachari, how to cook, how to take shower. The simple, we don't know how to take shower, we don't know. Did you know you have to take shower at 4 o'clock in the morning before you joined? I didn't, I had no idea. Isn't it? Maybe in Thuringen you would take shower at 4 o'clock in the morning, but we don't know, how to, don't eat with the left hand, or wash your hands after eating. We don't know these things. Who is washing hands? I went to visit my parents some years ago. They have this in mind, automatic here. You cook, and then pot, this is Krishna's, although this is their pot, but I cleaned it up a little bit to the cow dung, whatever, purification. And then I cooked there, and I ate, I made some soup for everybody. So we ate soup, and I said, would you like more? And my mother said, I'd like a little more. So I went there and I washed my hands. And she said, why are you washing your hands? She was surprised. Whoa. What's the, whoa. And I said, don't worry about it. Because I do automatically, this is what we do. You don't eat and you touch the Krishna's plate. But they don't know, they eat from the pot. They cook and they try from the pot. Oh, this is very tasty. So it's a lower class society, you can say. So Prabhupada understood this and he adjusted this philosophy to fit into this society. And therefore, even Prabhupada's melody singing, he sang only Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And Prabhupada was very expert in harmonium. When you hear this, Prabhupada was like really virtuoso in harmonium. But he didn't, He thought, these people, let's save one. Let's keep one thing for these people. So Prabhupada kept it very, very simple. Morning program, very simple. Everything simplified. We live simply. We, chant 16 rounds. Very simple. Everything is simple, but authorized. And this simple life will keep us free from fear, abhaya. And what does it mean, free from fear? Not that you walk around, some big guy comes and you're not afraid. This is not fear. Fear is, in Bhagavatam it's described, bhayam dvitiya binibeshata syat, that one becomes fearful, one turns away from Krishna. Then immediately fear starts, all kinds of different fears. So fearless means one who is constantly connected to Krishna. Then we don't need to be fearful anymore. So, free from fear and authorized by the Shastras. So far, I think this first part is fine. Would you like to ask anything so far? Yes, Irina.
As far as I understood, for the majority, should everything be simple? That
Yes.
in order that majority can follow, it should be like the minimum of what they can do, and then everybody can adjust
Yes.
personally on
Yes.
so whether they can do more or
Yes.
at least this minimum. As far as even the language, the simplest language of the world came.
Yeah. Everything has to be simple. And therefore, our Krishna consciousness, we should not complicate it. When presented to people, there's some nice food, there's some dancing, Haribol, and that's it. Lecture, sometimes, In public, usually we just went to Rath Yatra in Leipzig, and we're supposed to speak. We do the, you sing maybe half an hour, then you stop. The Rath Yatra stops, then you speak something. And I was supposed to speak one of these turns, and I was looking at these people. Nobody cares, So I spoke 3 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes. But you see, people don't hear. But anyways, we say something about Krishna, about Jagannath. But reality is just come and chant and dance. That's about it for the beginning. So the point is that to make it nice, chanting and dancing should be very nice, and prasadam should be very, very nice. I remember before we had this big Sunday feast, and I was instructed to make 12 preparations, Sunday feast, every time 12. And I was instructed to make cheese this big. So at that time cheese was, nowadays vegans, but that was some years ago. And when people see this wonderful prasadam, they think like, wow, this is amazing. Of course, nowadays we have to also adjust. We have a little bit for vegans, little tasty things. But that should be prasadam, nice prasadam, very nice kirtan. And some devotees are excelling, like Indradyumna Maharaj and his Polish program. It's like wonderful. They all decorated. Mataji is decorated nicely, first class saris, men, nice dhotis, iron. Do they iron? You just. I was once in one harinam. I was walking by actually, and there was a harinam from other, not ISKCON devotees. And this was very, very unattractive. Sorry to say, but very unattractive. There's like 3-4 people. He had these beads were caught up in a Brahman thread, hanging, and it was kind of dirty, and it was swirling around like this. I was thinking, man, how can you? It's a transcendental holy name, but has to be attractive. Has to be attractive. So therefore, when we go out on Harinam, we have to look all right. We have to look good. You have to sing well. Even if it's 5 people, we have to look decent. We are presenting Krishna. Also, when we go to Rath Yatras, we actually sing in Rath Yatra. Sometimes the devotees talk, Now is the time to actually sing for Krishna and glorify Krishna. Distribute flyers, whatever. But again, it should be very, very simplified. Very simplified. Everything simplified. But because this simple life will actually save us. All those who have tried to be complicated, in the end, they end up not be so, not even much of a devotees after some time. We have to keep the simple. So many times I've heard in Mayapur lecture by Bhagavad Jagran Prabhu. No, Jananivasi was many times saying, Krishna consciousness is so simple that you may miss it. So simple, and you think, oh, this is simple, and then somehow you miss it, the simplicity. So simple. Once they asked this famous devotee Jayananda, who is on the Ratha Yatra cart everywhere, they asked him, what is the secret of, staying devoted? Because he was at that time the oldest devotee in ISKCON, he was like 5 years in the movement. And they all knew Bhakta said, what is the secret of being staying in ISKCON? And he said, eat lots of prasadam and always sleep in the brahmacharya ashram. That's it. This is a secret. So, it's very easy. Eat some prasadam, always sleep, don't sleep anywhere else, just there. And that's it. And when you look at actually, what is Krishna consciousness? Krishna consciousness is just this, going to Mangalarti, doing some chanting, doing some reading, doing some service, going to sleep early. That's it. That's the Krishna consciousness mood. There's no big mystery or some deep insight or mystical. There's none of these things. These things may come to you as a result of your advancement in Krishna consciousness, but this is not the goal. Mystical things, you see some things. Prabhupada never spoke like this. Prabhupada is very practical, very, very practical. If you read Prabhupada's letter, Prabhupada was so practical. He was not at all into any of these esoteric things. And once there was one reporter asked Prabhupada, that was in South India, how is your philosophy different from Vishishta Advaita philosophy? And Prabhupada says, we are not into this. We are into Anad Ananti Bhutani. That people are actually, all living entities exist by eating grains. And he said, if you don't eat grains, you will die. So this is the Krishna consciousness movement is about how do we actually have this world eat grains properly. But when you think about this, meaning the grains come from the yagyas, from the sacrifice, because of the rain. So if you don't have rain, then there'll be no grains. So we have to do yagya. So the best yagya is the Sankirtan yagya. So Prabhupada connected this to practical thing. When I also joined the first time, one senior Mataji, Prabhupada disciples, she always told us, because we were traveling sometimes, it was difficult in buckets, washing and she said, Jai Shri Shri Vijay Gauranga Deolita Ki Jai. And she said, Prabhupada was very practical. He said, sometimes if it's not possible to wash your laundry properly, he said, just put it through the water 2-3 times, your dhotis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's it. And I was like, wow, So Prabhupada was very, very practical, very practical. So we should be very practical in Krishna consciousness. Chant your rounds, wake up. And then, by practicing Krishna consciousness, the advancement will come. But this should remain your own personal, you don't want to say secret, but your own realization. You should not broadcast it, today I've spoken to Krishna. Sometimes Prabhupada even said certain things, but not so much. Not so much, almost none. Sometimes Prabhupada would. Even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita or Chaitanya Bhagavatam, when he would fall into trance, he would talk all kinds of things about gopis and Krishna and Radha, and then he would wake up from the trance and he said, how was it? What did I speak? Did I speak any nonsense? Did I speak anything stupid? The Buddha said, no, everything is good. He never spoke in public. Of course, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a perfect Supreme Personality of Godhead, no different from Radha and Krishna. But he never spoke, how about this philosophy? Or, he was also very practical. He said, just chant Hare Krishna and serve Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Jive doya Krishna nam sarva shastra sar. This is the essence, sarva shastra sar, the essence of all the shastras. Be merciful to the souls, Jiva doya Krishna nam, and chant the holy name. And that's about it. This is it. So therefore we have to always seek the essence. What is the essence? The essence, ultimately Prabhupada opened the temples, and the temple life is the essence of the spiritual life. That's it. The essence of the spiritual life is the temple life. Waking up, going to morning program, chanting, serving, going to evening program, going to sleep. This is the essence, you know. But some people, you know, most of the people cannot live in the temple because somehow, for whatever reasons, you know, but they should understand, this is the essence, this is the essence. The temple life is the essence, not the temples are the essence. You know, this building is just a building. But the temple life, this kind of particular lifestyle is the essence. And therefore Prabhupada says that the Grihastas should have kirtan in the morning, kirtan in the evening, or whatever, or kirtan, at least kirtan in the evening with the family. Prabhupada says when he was Grihasta, he would chant 16 rounds, how? 4 rounds in the morning, 4 rounds after breakfast, 4 rounds before the lunch, 4 rounds evening. 16 rounds. Prabhupada would chant 16 rounds. So this is because this is the essence. So in the temple you wake up and you have to chant 16 rounds. There's nothing, what else are you going to do? Just chant 16 rounds. You know, if you do some other service in the morning cooking, then you can chant 16 rounds later. Because you have a whole day to chant 16 rounds. And in temple you eat only Krishna prasadam, you know. You don't go downstairs to the prasadam, you know, room and there's biscuits and whatever, you know, beer, you know, just 0% beer, whatever, you know, and everything is there, nice, you know, whatever, Salzstange and all these things, and you're like, wow, this is 7-Up, you know, you choose, I like the 7-Up a little bit, and, you know, there's no such a thing, you know. We have prasadam because it's offered to Krishna. And this is the way to control the tongue, you know, to control the genitals and control the tongue. Prabhupada explains, there's a way to control the tongue is to eat only Krishna prasadam. You know. And you think like, well, I can eat like one big Govardhan hill of Krishna prasadam. But if you eat only Krishna prasadam, this is already, you know, difficult. Because there's only rice, dal, whatever you get, you know, this is what it is. Anyways. So this is it as the simplicity. And besides this, while we are simply practicing devotional service, we should develop good qualities. We should actually work on ourselves to try to develop good qualities. To see, do we have good qualities or not. So Prabhupada says here, one should live amongst the devotees or saintly persons to learn the etiquette and proper behavior of devotional service. So again, living in the temple is the way to do this. We learn the proper etiquette, we learn the devotional service, we learn from the devotees who are actually practicing it. Anyways, this is all what I wanted to say for today. If you would maybe ask anything else, or we can wind up.
You said we are in fear in that moment when we leave Krishna.
Yes.
And, but sometimes you don't, how to say, feel that you are separated from Krishna and you do your work and everything looks okay, but then you get a reaction of that and you feel it even more. How can we...
What? One more time.
Weil es so many elements of demons is coming.
Sorry?
Weil es so many elements of demons in this is coming.
He's, just 1 second, he's asking.
When you said...
The video, yes.
At the end of it.
Fear arises when the living entity misidentifies himself as the material body because of the absorption in the external illusory energy of the Lord. Because how can you, if you understand that Krishna is everywhere and that Krishna is everything, you cannot be fearful because everything is Krishna and you are connected to Krishna. And if you're connected to Krishna, you cannot have a quality which is not Krishna. And fear is a quality which is not Krishna. Krishna is not fearful. And therefore the Uttamadhikari is the highest devotee because he sees everything connected to Krishna. He doesn't see anything not connected to Krishna. You know, how does that work? We'll see one day. You will see when you become Uttamadhikari. How does everything connected to Krishna? And you don't see anything except Krishna. In the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj, he did not see anything in this material world. He said he did not see even forms, like a tree or something. He always saw Krishna everywhere. So we have to come to this, one day, to this platform. We have to work to come to this platform to understand everything is Krishna. Then how can you be fearful? On what grounds? You're fearful, we are fearful because of the misidentification. We think we are the material body separated from Krishna. Because fear means, when you watch a horror movie, what is most fearful in a horror movie?
Not the scene when somebody gets killed, but the scene before.
Exactly, the element of surprise. This is the most fearful. The woman walks, and then you hear somebody there, come here, and she's opening the door. You don't know, it's dark. And maybe, then suddenly she opens the door and somebody jumps on her. And So fear means something which is separated from you. Your body is separated from this other fearful object. But if you understand everything is Krishna, Krishna is everywhere, how can you be fearful? You open it, it's the Krishna is on the other side also. And and if he kills you, Krishna kills you, it's ecstatic. That would be nice, Of course, Krishna will not kill you, but Krishna kills Shishupala and Shishupala attains liberation, so what harm is there? Everything is connected to Krishna. Yes?
Wasn't his question that we are not fearful enough of Maya, or did I understand?
What was your okay, do it one more time.
Okay. I think he asked, sometimes we just live our life and we are not fearful to forget Krishna, or?
We are not fearful of Krishna.
We don't have this fear to forget Krishna, we think everything is good.
Yes, sometimes everything is good. But then we should be also very attentive that we don't make, mistakes. Because we take, basically we can, we have to be attentive in devotional service. Sometimes the creeper can rise and we think the creeper is the bhakti, but the creeper is not the bhakti. Everything I'm doing well and everything is great, but the others are seeing that you are not doing so great and you're not so well. But you think the creeper, you think the crowd, unkraut. What is unkraut? Weed. You think that the weed is actually the devotional creeper of devotional service. So therefore, Lord Chaitanya says the devotees are expert gardeners. They're always guarding this creeper of devotional service, cutting, make sure that you don't have a weed anywhere. And that means attentiveness. That means you're attentive in devotional service. And that also means that you're not, going out, as I said, you meet some big man and you say, oh yeah, you are, karmi, you go to hell. And then he smashes you and you think, but Krishna told me to be fearless. This is not, this is a whimsical devotional service. Devotional service has to be practiced as anushilanam. Anushilana means favorable to Krishna consciousness. So what is favorable? Is this favorable to drive car into the wall and you say, Krishna will protect me? This is not favorable to devotional service. But favorable to devotional service is to take care of the car nicely, clean it, clean the oil, check everything. This is favorable. Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai.